Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a warm welcome to Red and Blue News. Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. I am your host for this elongated evening, and my name is Nick Philpott. I'm joined this evening, as always, by my two wingmen, Jel Holyoke and Ian Lyons. Gentlemen, bonsoir.
Bonsoir, mon ami.
I didn't even hear what he said. What did the other one say?
Yes, hello, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have decided this evening, okay? Before I tell you what's coming up in tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you the reason why we have decided to do an elongated show, an extended show that is here for you to do with whatever you wish to do. And we want you to get involved. I'm going to let the people that are watching already, and good evening to you wherever you are, thank you for joining us on the Red and Blue Review. On Saturday morning, Mr. Holyoke and myself had a telephone conversation. And the telephone conversation, evening Max, can see you, buddy. The telephone conversation went something along the lines of this. And it was me to Jel. I went to bed angry after the close of the transfer window, and I woke up just as angry. And we are going to share our thoughts on not just yesterday's game, because we will be doing a full review on yesterday's game. We will be doing lots of detail on stuff that's going on behind the scenes, Gel's statistic on players, and everything to do with each individual first team member that's coming up later in the show. But we've also got hundreds, and I mean, I've got pages of questions from you, our respected viewers. So thank you for each and every one of you. If you would like to join us, we are going to do something slightly different this evening. If you would like to join us on the show this evening, we are going to give you the opportunity later on in the show to join us. Now, how you go about that is really very simple. In the chat at the bottom of your screen, just put a note into Lucy. Lucy can see it. Hi, Rob, can see you, mate. If you've got something you want to vent about Crystal Palace Football Club, okay, we must keep the swear words to an absolute minimum, no? I am called... Yeah, that's
just one every 3 seconds, all right?
I am inviting anybody that wants to join us on the show this evening for a 2 or 3 minute chat to give your views and your thoughts on where the club is at this present time. But make no mistake, at the end of this show, and we don't know how long it's going to go on for, and they normally go on for an hour or so, but this is going to be way in excess of that, even up to a maximum of 2 hours. Okay, it depends on how many of you want to get involved. Okay, it's up to you. We want to know your thoughts, your views, and you can come on very simply by putting a message on in the comments page to Lucy. Lucy will send you out a link, and all you have to do with that link is simply click on it, okay? Click on the link, and at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a red button that says join as a guest. When you hit that red button as join as a guest, okay, you will be held in what we call the green room. It's something pre-show. Lucy will notify me in my ears that you are there and who you are and what you want to talk about, okay, and then you will be put through to the show just like you would do in any TV studio, whereby you don't have to be shy or nervous or anything like that. We'll hold your hand, we'll look after you, but get involved. The reason we're doing this show this evening is to give you an opportunity to give us your thoughts, okay? You can find us, as well as catching up on the game yesterday, don't forget you can find us on other platforms as well. Twitter, YouTube, and I want to talk to you about YouTube very quickly. Our Big Heads Media, anytime, either watch, listen or download this or any of our broadcasts, simply go to... Notify me in my ears that you are there and who you are. Who is that? Was that you? Holyoke, no. Was that you? That was Holyoke, I'm telling you now. Right, I'll carry on. Simply go to the redandbluereview.co.uk. Go to redandbluereview.co.uk for all your links. What we would like to do this evening, okay, on YouTube, especially on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, Jel, turn it off. Especially on you. It's him. It's the other one. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We would like, if it can happen, for us to actually hit over 100 subscribers this evening. Please hit the subscribe button. The other thing we would like you to do is, if you don't mind, as there's already nearly 90 of you watching out there, is hit the watch party button on Facebook. For anybody watching on Facebook, hit the share button, then go watch party and share it to your own feed, so other people that's on your feed can see. Eh? What was that?
Pet.
Yeah, to your pet. Let anybody that's on your feed see what we're doing. We are live, we are free, we are open access. That's the whole idea of being on the review page and not on the red and blue news page. Come and join us. We want you on there. So if you fancy putting a call into the show, message in the comments. Lucy will contact you privately. Let's get it on. Let's have that discussion. So, very good evening, boys. Thank you for giving up your Sunday evenings again, Jel. Ian, are you well, mate?
Am I well?
Yeah.
Well, I could be better after the shite performance we had yesterday, and that's the one swear word you'll hear from me all day. But it's it's been a pretty dire weekend, isn't it?
Well, Jel is typical Crystal Palace, and like I said, I went to bed angry with them on Friday night. Woke up angry on Saturday, and just knew they were going to ruin our weekend by defeat. In fact, I think I put it in one of our chats that we were going to lose yesterday. Just typical Palace ruin our weekend, yeah.
As per at the moment, yeah. I think there was a lot of people thought we were going to lose yesterday, and lose we did. I think, in all honesty, I didn't think we deserved to lose, but on small margins.
It's one of those things whereby it just annoys me that we're going to take 6 points off West Ham, and good as it is, okay, it's and then we've lost 6 points to the others. It just infuriates me. Just imagine, I mean, because they ain't all that. They weren't all that, Ian, were they?
No, in neither games. I think, as we'll come on to in a minute, I think both games they were lucky to get. They would have been lucky to have got a draw out of it. To be perfectly honest, we had all the possession yesterday. We had plenty of the possession the game before. But let's not make let's give them a certain amount of credit. They're flying, and they're flying high, and they're on one of these runs that teams sometimes find themselves on. That even when they deserve to lose, they're picking up points. So we've only got ourselves to blame.
Superb. I just read something in our chat. Sorry, I got sidetracked there just for a minute and started giggling, and I do apologise.
Okay. While he calms down, just a quick shout out. Rob Donovan, Steve Tween, Chris Petts, Vicky Usher, Paul Glance, Jordan O'Day, Andy Stacey, Max E.G. Francis, Neil Chatterjee, amongst others, chatting in the live chat. Feel your boots, people. Thomas Curley is there as well. Yeah, tell us what you think.
Yeah, we want to know. We want to know your views. How are you feeling as Palace fans at the moment? Because we know how you're going to make no bones about it. By the end of this show, you're going to know exactly what we're worried about, okay? Are we supposed to be looking over our shoulder? 100 viewers out there. I want to know some answers from you. Are we supposed to be looking over our shoulder? Okay, I want to, before I hand over to Ian and we'll do the lineup, okay? I want to just pay tribute, if you don't mind, to Roy Hodgson, who will possibly come in for some flack from you lot tonight, okay? But Roy Hodgson, I watched he did 2 post-match interviews, one with the Palace TV lot and one with Match of the Day lot. And I think he needs credit for what he said about Vicente Guaita. Ian, I might be stealing your thunder here, okay? He was very honourable about our goalkeeper. The goalkeeper made a howler, okay? And he admitted that. He said, because not only did he admit that, the keeper came into the dressing room after the game, deeply upset, put his hands up and apologised to the rest of everybody that was in the dressing room. He said, I'm really sorry for what happened to me out there. Okay, that was my fault. That was my mistake. And the manager stopped him in his tracks and said, you don't owe anybody an apology. You don't owe an apology to a single person in this room. Don't you dare apologise. We are sitting on 30 points. And a lot of those points...
Did Hodgson then turn around and say, it's me that owes everyone an apology?
No, what he did say, he said, look, we are sitting on 30 points so far this season, and a lot of them are down to you. So big respect to Roy Hodgson for that. Okay, and he broadcast that on 2 different interviews yesterday. So fair play to him. So the lineup yesterday: Guaita in goal, Ward, Tompkins, Cahill, and welcoming back Van Aanholt, Milivojevic, and of course Christian Benteke, McCarthy, MacArthur, Zaha, and Ayew were our lineup. Jel, we'll start off with you if you don't mind. Any surprises in that lineup? Were you surprised that he'd left out Townsend for possibly Ayew?
No, not at all. Again, Ayew's been playing well. You know, you can't knock him. He's played, most of the games this season and done all right. Townsend has obviously been injured, but he's gone missing in some of the games that he's played. So, I was disappointed that as soon as players get fit, that others expect to come back in. I was disappointed that PVA came straight back in over Gyro. I have to say I was disappointed.
Okay, I'm glad you raised it because it's my next talking point, Jel. And again, I told you that I was cross before the game even kicked off yesterday. And how can Crystal Palace? Again, I hate the phrase, typical Crystal Palace. Ian, our player of the month that the fans supported and fans voted for, Gyro Riedewald, gets dropped for PVA. How can we, as a club, drop our player of the month in place of Patrick Van Aanholt? In fact, there's nothing wrong with Van Aanholt, by the way, but it's just an absolute kick in the teeth.
I actually thought PVA was pretty much our best player yesterday, to be fair. Listen, I mean, it's the same with Luca, isn't it? You just know it's going to happen. You just knew that he was going to bring him back in. What I would have liked to have seen is him keep Riedewald there and put PVA on the left wing if he was going to bring him in, because he's far more dangerous and it pushes further up the pitch. But that's Hodgson all over it. He has his favourites and he keeps complaining about not having a big enough squad competition or whatever. But he rarely gives people a chance. And, we'll go on to it later. But his excuses about injuries is now coming to an end, and it may well shine a light on his own capabilities when he won't have that to hide behind. But we'll wait and see.
Okay, so coming up in tonight's show, Ian's about to give us his resume of yesterday's poor performance. We're going to discuss the transfer window in some great detail, our current squad, and the ramifications and implications to Roy Hodgson's future. I think what you'll find is yesterday on Twitter, there was a false Dom Fifield account whereby people actually say he's already gone. Okay, for those of you who fell for it, just check the accounts. Even though it's got a blue tick on it, it wasn't Dom Fifield or anything to do with him. The poor bloke is being terrorised by some guy with a false account. Before you close the bookies down, because they had to shut down taking any odds on Roy Hodgson leaving yesterday, purely and simply because of that dodgy account.
There's a lot of that going on, isn't there?
What, dodgy accounts?
Yeah, it's outrageous. It's terrible.
I think Gel's on his milk.
I let the cat in. He wants a shave. Hang on.
Oh my God. So I was about to hand over to Ian Lyons to get on with his what he's actually here for. So stroking a pussy off camera. Jel, Ian, over to you, mate.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes because on the game and your thoughts, please.
Well, I mean, as you quite correctly said, we welcome back Benteke, Luca, and PVA at the starting lineup, which I agree. I think we were unlucky. I think it was unlucky on Gyro and Chiarte, although obviously we know Chiarte's carrying an injury at the minute. So the game started off on actually quite a positive foot for us. It was similar to the West Ham game at home, where Sheffield United gave us a lot of respect. And they were obviously a little concerned about us being able to hit them on the break, especially with their three-man defence. And we had all this possession. Which we saw a lot of possession in the first 10 minutes. And as a result, I think for the first 3 or 4 minutes, they didn't have a touch of the ball. And the only time they got near it was to foul us, and they committed fouls in the first 10 minutes. And that was obviously a sign of things to come as the way they were going to approach the game. George Baldock in particular was playing particular interest to Wilf. At every opportunity, he was trying to foul him, wasn't he? And getting away with murder, pulling him at every opportunity. And the referee would just seemingly letting it go. So I think on 18 minutes, Baldock then finally got the booking that he'd long deserved. Wilf spun him, held him back. And because the crowd had been going on because of a number of fouls, the referee decided, yeah, okay, fair enough. You can all see what I can see, but now I can't get away with it. I'm going to have to book you. And then on 24 minutes, Tompkins puts in an innocuous sliding tackle. He slides along the ground for about 4 feet, 5 feet, and then scoops the ball out. And then he gets a yellow card for dangerous play. And you're just thinking, what's going on? And I don't know if you boys noticed as well, the linos, none of the linos would give any sort of decision, certainly the lino in front of the main stand, unless or until the referee actually made the decision for him. So the half that set the tempo for the first half, and then on the first controversial moment happened when Wilf gets the ball on a touchline. Baldock then goes through him on the turn, and pretty much every pundit in the country has said second yellow, bang to right, it's gone. Like 5 or 6 of our players haranguing the ref, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do, but at least they were making it clear that, hang on a minute, this is the guy's like 7th or 8th nibble at him. What the hell's going on? And he's just going, no, it's just a free kick, And you're going, where's the consistency? So he was lucky to get away with that one. I mean, obviously you can't, there was no VAR decision for that.
So why wasn't that, Ian? Why wasn't there a VAR check on that?
Well, I don't, because it's not a clear and obvious mistake. I mean, I think had he gone in studs up, I think the VAR would have pulled it up because it would have been a straight red. But for a yellow, you're not going to get it. So with that, then the game carrying on. The game carrying on. The cat's killing me now. Right. So up until that point as well, one of the players that had come in, Benteke, I actually thought was playing really well. I mean, he had very little to feed off of, but he was winning a number of headers. He was holding the ball up well. Okay, he wasn't necessarily sprinting after everything, but he actually looked half decent, and it was allowing a team to come up and support him. But even though that was happening, we were just still so laboured on the ball, and that was just like a theme for the whole of the game. So with that, then the remainder of the half just sees Palace having vast amounts of possession, with United happy just to spoil and foul when we get anywhere near the final third. But as I say, we were just so slow at moving the ball. We were happy just to get it out, pass it sideways, pass it here. I mean, Luca was pretty much anonymous for most of that first half. So, and then he was like 0-0 at half time, and you're thinking, where's the goal coming from? They don't want to attack. We can't attack. We can't score. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
So you want me to go? Okay, all right. So
actually, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break there. Ian, hold on. Let's take a break. Jel, can you see the screen with all the people watching? Can you turn your mic on and say hello to a few people, will you?
So we've got Away Day Eagle, Lee.
Hello, Lee.
Andrew Adams, Tony Nichols, Teresa Baker, Matt Miller, Tim Richards, Michael Montgomery. There's a fair few people, way over the 100 watching at the moment. So, but yeah, I mean, we can see all your comments, guys, and what we're going to do is we'll probably
Michael,
Paul Rundle,
Jordan,
and then what we'll do, Laurie Scott, we'll make our observations, and then you guys can so to stop it being repetitive. But yeah, Nigel Croucher, yeah. So Steve Gallagher, John Paul Whelan, Andy Stacey. Yeah. So yeah, keep making your observations, but we will try and cover most of them, and then you can steam into us after.
We have got plenty of time.
the most pertinent observation I've seen so far is from Thomas Corrali. He said he wanted to rip his eyes out yesterday after the performance, and I think that's how pretty much most of us felt. So,
bizarrely, it done my head in so much that I actually left and I went down for an eye test. I swear to God, I went to Vision Express down in Orpington for an eye test.
I just couldn't. No, you were seeing that what you thought you saw.
Yeah, I just couldn't watch anymore. It was just so. You know what it starts to get. You get to the point where you past frustrated and you start getting upset. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, because it's an affront. You feel cheated. You think, I work all week to afford to come and watch you lot and pay your wages, and you just put in next to nothing in.
Hold that thought, because it's funny. I mean, we will do the second half in a minute, okay? And this is a point that I wanted to raise this evening, okay? One of the millions of points I've got to raise this evening. Don't forget, okay, after what shit show of a transfer window, and we will do the transfer window in a minute, okay, the shit show of a performance on the pitch yesterday, okay, the dross that we've been served up, we are about to be invited to renew our season tickets for next season, ladies and gentlemen. Are you aware that is literally around the corner? Okay,
dun, dun, dun.
And there is anger in the stands. There is anger in the changing rooms with the manager. He's pissed off. There is anger all over around the club, surrounding the club, and they are about to invite us to renew our season tickets for next season. Your thoughts on that, ladies and gentlemen, please. Over to you. Paul Glance, I can see you. Adam, I can see you, mate. Andrew, Graham, Teresa, James Carpenter, Tim Richards. Good day, you're down under. Kevin Lyons, come and join us on the show. Tell us your thoughts. I know you're there. We'll send you a link later in the show to come and join us. And your brother's shaking his head saying as though I'm mad. Carry on with the second half, mate, please.
Right, okay. So the second half starts in the same vein as the first half ended, with a couple of efforts early doors from us. But most notably, when on 48 minutes, Benteke gets the ball and he's weaving in and out. Carves himself up an opportunity, and you're thinking, just relax, just smash it, get it on target. And he tightens up, and the poor guy, there's palpable sympathy from large portions, and there's palpable anger as well. But they can see that he's trying so hard, and he just tenses up and offers just a weak shot down to Henderson's left. And you just thinking, oh no, take him off for his own sake, let alone our sake. And then we're banging on the door again, recycling, sideways, forward, back. And then on 58 minutes, they get a corner.
Yeah.
Wind swirling around. Then calamity, Guaita, VG, Manos. Well, no, he's not Manos Daus, but our best keeper in a long while, and he just catches it and then drops it in the net. And a lot of people are right in what they're saying is that if Hennessy had done that, he'd get pelters.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that Hennessy didn't have the previous 30 odd games that Vincent Guaita had to earn that. And to not get called out for that. Everyone makes a mistake. If he comes on, my brother would tell you, being a goalkeeper himself, it wasn't necessarily for me, it wasn't even a wind thing. It was just a mistake. That's all it was. It was just a mistake. And we cannot, I'm sick and tired of seeing these twats on Twitter and everything else binning him off just because of that one thing. And you just think, what are these people on? So obviously they luck out. They go 1-0 up. Their fans who you haven't heard anything from for 50 odd minutes suddenly go ballistic. And it's one of those things as well that obviously you don't even go to VAR. The bit of technology that does work in the game, the referee just goes, done, and everyone goes, oh, all right then, fine.
Well, Ian, you knew it was very simply because straight away the Sheffield fans were in full celebration mode. It wasn't going to be a VAR.
Yeah.
So you absolutely knew And it was only when I realised that they were doing the full the full celebration in the stands, then I looked across from the linesman, and as you quite rightly said, he just went like that, goal. So you knew that an error had been made. Look, the guy's made an error. He is in credit, in massive credit. I couldn't give a toss about yesterday's goal. Not interested. Well done, Vincenzo. You're a top goalkeeper and an asset to the club. Apart from your age, that we will come on to later, won't we, Jel? Anyway, moving on. Sorry.
We're coming on to Jel's.
Can I just make one point?
Yeah.
This is going to really piss everyone off, right? But, again, you know what I'm like with just watching players all the time. He did the same thing against Brighton, and they should have scored. He dropped the ball at the player's feet. Can't think about the other game, but he did it again. Dropped the ball. I think he might just be a little bit suspect.
Well, no, I can't. No, you can't say that. I mean, Christ's sake.
I'm just saying. I've seen it 3 times. But he's the guy's genuinely upset. But like I said, I tweeted straight away. He said, "I'm just going to say, because if I don't say it, someone else will say it. But someone else will say it. Just for the hell of it."
What I would say is, if you look at the percentages of crosses and corners he has to deal with, I think it's probably a lot lower than any other keeper who probably only has 1 or 2 corners to deal with every game.
And also, we've got a goalkeeper that comes
maybe it's a game of percentages. Exactly that.
Goalkeeper Kevin Lyons is actually saying, really, Jel? His only thing that he got wrong with that, and I was a former goalkeeper. Okay, I don't know if I bored you with that, but I was a former goalkeeper. Hence why I got that scar in my face there. Chucking myself into people's legs and that sort of thing. The only thing he got wrong yesterday was his decision making. He tried to catch it and he dropped it where he should have punched it. Quite clearly, that was the error. He should have punched it. He should have punched it clear. If the wind was swirling like the manager is alluding to in his post-match interviews, he should have punched it, not try to catch it. Jill, you're laughing. Respond.
No,
I think it's weird.
Kev.
Yeah.
It could be. Kev just went, really, Jill?
Yeah, I just saw it.
You can tell the disdain in the comment, couldn't you?
Yeah, you can. He just wants to chuck his curry at you.
You're saying that, and just very quickly before you carry on, and Tony Nichols said once the goal went in, there was almost a sound of like resigned acceptance around the ground. Another defeat is approaching.
There was. I mean, as you know, we'll come on to it a little bit later. The crowd can only do so much, and back in when a couple of managers ago, when things weren't going great, they need to give us something to get behind them on, because other than that, it's like 80% of this season is us trying to will them to get a goal and everything else, and then you just think, oh God, I'm fed up with this. Go, Jel.
Matt Miller.
Yeah,
goalkeeping coach. He should have punched it away. Let's move on.
Well done, Matty. You know you're talking sense, mate. I saw the same comment.
Let me just open up that little can. All right.
It's in the fridge behind you.
Go on, Lee.
Hang on, before you carry on here, ladies and gentlemen, in case you haven't spotted behind Jill's right ear, okay, look what he's put on his fridge whiteboard.
Subliminal messages they've seen.
About a thing, yeah. Carry on, mate.
So does it not say clean your cup, Jel?
I don't even know where it is. That's the really bad part about it. It's probably my son's
right,
bedroom.
I saw that comment and it's twatter. That's all it is, mate. There's no Twitter. They're all twats on it. Anyway, Moving on. So we're 1-0 down.
Yeah.
63 minutes.
Yeah.
With frustration palpably mounting around the ground. Jimmy Mack gets in a good position in the box, opens up right side, tries to curl it, but it's too close to Henderson, who, after all, is one of the best goalkeepers in the league, and that is easy for him. And to be fair to Mr. Miller, he did actually punch it away. He caught very little. He was punching quite a bit out. And I think that was pretty much our best effort. 67 minutes, Mr. Invisible, Mr. Milivojevic, suddenly turns up and then gets booked for another one of his cynical masterpieces.
Mate.
70 minutes.
Mate. Stop.
Go on then.
Stop. Two things there. Two things come to mind. It was actually an observation that I made with a couple of people around me yesterday about Luca. First of all, Luca's pass percentage yesterday was good. Okay, it was high. He might not be
5 yards,
but that's what
he is. It's irrelevant.
You've still got to complete those passes, which he was doing. Ben, you're talking to the person that's criticised Luka Milivojevic more than anybody else this season. But not yesterday. I thought he actually had an okay game. Right, my concern about Luka Milivojevic, ladies and gentlemen, your homework starts now. My understanding is with that booking that Ian's just alluded to, I believe that he is just about 2 more bookings and he then gets another suspension. Am I right? I believe he gets suspended for 2 more games on 2 more bookings because of how many he's already accrued this season. Could somebody in the chat please confirm for me that I'm right? 2 more bookings and he follows another 2-match suspension. Carry on, Ian.
Okay, so 67 minutes he gets booked. And up until this point, United, bear in mind they're 1-0 up, have already made 2 subs. Well, what do we think Roy was doing?
Yeah.
Nothing. Just
standing there.
Okay, 1-0 down, 20 minutes to go. I've got this such a small squad. I've got all these players coming back that are like new players. Am I going to use them? No, I'll just stick with the players that are playing like ponies on the pitch. That'll be the right thing to do. 70 minutes, then Tompkins goes close with a header. It's unlucky. It was the smallest of touches from the centre back, and the win whipped in. So he was unlucky not to get a chance there. And then on 73 minutes, probably the most controversial part of the game, Ward goes in for a 50-50, not even halfly. He gets there at exactly the same time as their left winger and gets a straight red. And everyone's going, "What? Where's that come from?"
Yeah, I know.
Nick, go.
Yeah, very quickly, just finishing off on the Max on the Lucas suspension. Kevin Lyons says 1 more. Max says it's 1 more. Jordan says he thinks it's another 2 more games and he'll be suspended. Lee Lockwood says another nice holiday paid for. Yes, Nick, that's correct. Okay, so that booking or 2 more bookings and he is suspended again for at least 2 more games. Not acceptable. Sorry, you're going to do the Joel sending off. Carry on, mate.
Do bookings in training camp because I might run on getting booked because it's just outrageous. Anyway, so yeah, the controversy. Everyone's wondering what the hell's going on. And this is where I'd say fair play to the ref. I mean, up until that point, he'd had a pretty inconsistent game. But at least VAR, this is how VAR was envisaged and should be used. And this is why it works so well in the World Cup. VAR picked something up and say, do you know what? You might want to take a second look at this. And he went over to the monitor again, put a first in the country at Selhurst Park, and did the right thing and overturned it. And fair play to him. No, I've got no problem with that at all.
On that subject then, the confusion that decision made in the stadium, first and foremost, I actually didn't see him issue the first red card. Okay, the first red card, because he actually issued it twice. The first red card, I never saw that. That was because obviously my sight was looking at something else within the stadium. Okay, so he obviously had produced a red card. He then realised I nearly scored there, screwed it up, okay, went over to the monitor, as you quite rightly said, and then came back onto the pitch and did this. He went like that, the old monitor side, pulled the red card out again and showed it again, okay? And then he went like that, as if to say, I've rescinded it. I mean, the poor old Joel Ward must have thought, because if you see the other Palace players around him, their reaction was going, no, what are you doing? In other words, he'd actually pulled the red card out again and then rescinded it, okay, and then changed it to a yellow. But, I mean, the confusion of these signals of all this, 1 red card, a second red card, and then rescinded, then the yellow card. Get it right, for God's sake. I know you're only human, but get it right.
He should have walked backwards from the camera, from the screen.
Yeah.
Got his card out.
Should have moved. Yeah.
And then put it in his pocket. Sorry, carry on, mate.
Right, I'm going to wrap it up because Mr. Glance is getting frustrated that even though we're a review podcast, we're talking about a game. So Mr. Glance, not long. Hey, hold on a minute. So that was 73 minutes. And then on 77 minutes, with pressure time ebbing away, Roy does the unthinkable. He brings a sub on with 13 minutes to go. I've seen a couple of people say Max did nothing. Well, you're going to do nothing, aren't you? If you've got 5 minutes to influence the game, because he came on in the 85th minute. So by that time, it was all done and dusted, too little, too late, and the game fizzled out for a loss.
Indeed. Crystal Palace fielded. And listen to this stat, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to form large part of what Mr. Holyoke's going to be telling you this evening. Crystal Palace fielded their oldest ever starting 11 in the Premier League. The average age of 30 years and 94 days, which is an absolute disgrace considering we just come out of a transfer window, and the second oldest by any side in the top flight this season after Watford, 30 years and 210 days, again, versus Sheffield United in October 2019. Sorry, mate, I stole your thunder. Carry on with your stats.
Okie dokie, right. This might turn into a little bit of a ramble, but if you bear with me. So I'm just going to go through all the positions that were supplied. I took this off with transfermarket.co.uk. So Guaita, 33. Hennessy, 33. They list 4 goalkeepers, Henderson and Henry. Mamasako, he's 30 in 2 weeks. Tompkins, he's 31 at the end of March. Cale's 34. Riedeveld, 23. Scott Dann, 33 in 2 weeks. PVA, 29. Joel Wall, 30. Martin Kelly, 30. I mean, it's just, it literally is, we have like a terrible aging squad that just doesn't sit good for next year. Luca is 29 in April. Cheku Guaita is 30. James McArthur's 32. James McCarthy is 29. Jeff Schlupp, 27. Max Meyer, 24. Wilf Zaha, 27. Andros Townsend, 28. Christian Benteke, 29. And Jordan Ayew is 28. Now, I've done a few stats, and what we've basically worked out is that we've got 12 players that are out of contract from that team. We've got 23 players listed in the squad. You don't have to list the younger players. But if you take, they've listed 4 goalkeepers. So take 2 of those out, we've actually got a 21-man squad, 21 senior pros listed. If they stay till the start of next season, I can't see it, but this is the kind of thing that we're going to be up against. So we've got 12 players out of contracts on the 21st of June 2021. If we start that season with these players, 3 will be 30, 4 will be 31, 1 will be 32, 1 will be 33, 2 will be 34, but that's both of our goalkeepers, and 1 will be 35. Now that is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous stats. I can't see how sooner. I mean, let's just say that we lose 4 or 5 of those players. That they're first team squad players. That's huge changes. Huge changes. Yeah, I just find it disturbing that the club have allowed this to happen. Someone, we've all said it, and now the whole world knows it. Because Sky have gone after stats and put that one up. Go on, E.
Well, I mean, I think what you're saying is perfectly valid, and I think it's spot on, to be fair, and it's a great bit of work. I think that clearly the transfer policy is geared towards going for younger British talent, maybe. I mean, the actual transfer policy, I think, needs a rocket up its arse, just like our football on the pitch does. But, you just can't escape it, can you? And this is a problem with Roy and his tactics as well, because what he's doing is he's flogging these players rather than giving them a bit of a breather and extending their life, as it were. He's essentially hanging all of them out to dry.
Go on, Jeff.
Well, so we can carry on this little bit of a stat attack then. So Sacco's played 8 out of 25 games. Tompkins, 16 from 25. Cahill, 15 from 25. Scott Dan, 5 from 25. PVA, 17 from 25. Joel Ward, 15 from 25. Martin Kelly, 19 from 25. Luca, 20 from 25. Guaita, 22 from 25. How on earth Guaita? I mean, when I say they've played a part in the games. That's how they get these stats. James McCarthy, 20 from 25. Yeah, James McCarthy, 20 from 25. Schlupp, 15 from 25. Max Meyer, 11 from 25. Wolf Zaha, 24 from 25. Andros Townsend, 14 from 25. Ben Secchi, 15 from 25. And Ayew, 23 from 25. So if you look at these, for whatever reason, we've got at least two players, first team squad players that have missed 1/3 of the season. We've got another one. We have. I don't know what it is, but we are losing our senior players. There's a lot of players missing a lot of games. There is by just reading those stats out, we have absolutely zero continuity. And I think what Roy likes is continuity, which is why I think as soon as PVA became fit again, Gyro's out. It's just, he's done nothing for the kid's confidence. I mean, he's come in, he had a mare the first game, and now he's played really, really well. He's been competitive. He's been
in a bad team.
Say again?
In a bad
played
team.
well in a bad team.
Yeah, but I mean, he's done all right, and now Roy's just come back in and he's just gone, yeah, all right, mate. See you later. Thanks, but no thanks. I know he did something very similar with Aaron. I mean, Aaron played the first 7, didn't he? The last. He played 7 games in a row, and then Ward came back. But and then he was given the season after. But I just you can see now with the ages and the inconsistency of having a settled team. And also not having the team bolstered by any new blood, apart from Tosin, who is now injured. But when we talk about January, the transfer window, I have some interesting news that you two don't know about. So carry on with what you were going to do, but I want to join in when you do that.
Right, okay. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what we already know on the transfer window, boys, okay? So for the benefit, and Nigel, can you confirm, Nigel Croucher, I'm talking to you now. I've seen your message in the chat. I know what it was, okay? Can you just confirm it for me? Either private message me or in the chat, because I'm going to cover that in a second. So transfer deadline day. We all knew that we needed a left back, right back, and striker as a minimum. The manager, all for the whole window, was talking about the fact that we probably need 4 players. Okay, and he would like to have done 4 players. Okay, had at least 4 replacements come in, especially with our chronic injury list that Gel's just alluded to. The reason they're getting injured is because they're senior in age. Very simple. It ain't rocket science. They're senior in age. Okay, and he's playing them to death, as Gel has just alluded to. So the manager kept going on, and the more the transfer window went on, the more I noticed the manager's demeanour was getting crosser and crosser and sterner, because he's expecting to get some players. And whenever the subject was broached, he was the one saying, "Do you know what? Yeah, I'm leaving it to Doug, as he calls him, and the chairman. Go on in."
Do we not think that Dougie and Parrish are getting frustrated with Roy? Because he seems to be getting away scot-free at the minute.
Yeah, hang on, Joe, I'm just coming to you. I want to do the Dougie and Parrish thing next, guys. Joe, go, mate.
Right. So it's I need to do this back to front, really. I sent a message to I got some messages today, basically saying that the Americans have put someone in charge of the club, of day-to-day running of the club, and not Parish. And also that Parish had his hands tied in this, that, and the other. And I received this message back. And before anyone says anything, I can absolutely tell you this is 100%, and not many people know about this. You guys are finding out now. These two in front of me are finding out now, because I just had to take it off of my phone and write it all down. So this is the text that I just got back from a completely trusted source. Parish's hands were not tied at all in this window. If you've been told that the Americans aren't being supportive, you are wrong. The January window finances were agreed back in November. Also, the type of player that Roy wanted at an age where he would have been expected to have resale value. They actually wanted to spend now and not in the summer. In fact, pretty much they sanctioned everything that Roy and Parish put to them, even though they still want to sell. Can I just tell you about the two players now that we were?
Please do.
So the reason we didn't spend £20 million plus was that, as everybody knows, Ferguson failed the medical, but he will join in July if the op goes okay. Also, Roy turned down players that were offered to him. Yeah. So that answers one or two questions, but we knew that anyway because we were told that beforehand. What is also 100% is that Hull offered us Bowen for a £4 million loan and a £6 million option to buy him in the summer. At the time, they'd only had one bid for him from Leeds United. Roy was happy at the loan as he thought Bowen drifted in and out of games, and he didn't really he wanted to see him first before we bought. When West Ham came in with an £16 million offer after Hull leaked a false offer to Sky Sports, Roy didn't think he was worth that money, although the club were going to buy him at the overinflated price.
Exclusive here on Red and Blue News, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting this. Yeah.
Until Roy turned around and said, don't buy him, he isn't worth 16 million, that's when our interest in him ceased. Yeah, and that, I can tell you now, I'm not going to tell you, but I've made it public. You can shoot me whatever you want. I'm telling you now, no names, but this is absolutely 100%. The person that sent me this turned around and said he actually saw it in writing about Bowen and Hull and the £6 million signing, permanent signing in the summer, the option.
So this comes back to what I was saying just before you started on this. You know, are we sure it's not Roy?
Yeah.
You know, if he's getting offered players and he's saying, look, we're going to go for him, Carrasco, he's good enough for Atletico Madrid, but not for us apparently. You know,
you've just brought up a red herring there. My understanding is we were never in for Carrasco ever. If you look at the manager, look at the manager's pre-match press conference, he absolutely stated we were never in for him. That was a red herring.
Right, that's absolutely fine, Nick. But then it doesn't matter. That was just another example based on what Jel was saying. So if Jel, we both know where the sources come from. We both know how kosher it is. You know, it smacks of someone who wants to plead poverty, but then doesn't want any help to deal with it. And if that's the case, where is that leading us as a club?
Well, I think there is a couple of things to pick up on there. I do want to point out, finish up on the Nigel Croucher thing in a minute. Nigel, and listen, before we carry on, I must say hello and thank you to everybody in our questions chat. We have a small group of listeners and viewers watching us. Nigel is a founder member of in there, and we exchange information in there. I think there is a lot in what you both are talking about with Roy. I think this is all leading to one thing, okay? Roy was turning down players. We were never in for Carrasco. We were never in talks with Carrasco representatives. We were being played on the Bowen deal, okay? He was turning down players that were being offered to him on the Thursday. We know that firsthand, and we can't mention where it was from. We know he was. So, and how you've just worded it, Ian, maybe he's making his decision at the end of the season easier by doing what he's done. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's trying to justify the incident.
I was surprised when I woke up this morning that the falsehood that was on Twitter the night before, okay, that Roy had already gone, wasn't actually true. Okay. I was actually surprised that he didn't walk yesterday. He looks, and somebody mentioned it in the chat a minute ago, he looks an absolutely broken man. Yesterday afternoon, he looked a broken man. Jill, I know you want to speak. Give me 2 seconds to cover one point, and I'm handing back to you, mate, because I know you're not finished, okay? I want to make you aware, for those that you didn't see it yesterday, and it's the evidence is out there for you all to see in yesterday's programme notes, okay? In the last week of the transfer window, when you would expect your chairman and your director of football to be chasing down every single deal that's been offered to you, okay? His own words were, Dougie and I returned from a trip to Israel this week, and as we sent a squad to the fantastic international under-19 winter tournament in Tel Aviv. Okay, here we go, the first F-bomb in the evening. If that is true, what the fucking hell are they doing in Tel Aviv during the transfer window? Why are the
but what do you think? What do you think they were doing, though? Maybe they were scouting for young, quality talent. Mate, they've got their phones on them.
Not now. They should be out there, especially the director of football, should be out there doing the deals that are already been pre-set up before the transfer window even opened. So, your thought?
It all sounds incredibly disjointed to me. It's weird. It's part of the club that needs a serious kick up the arse, as I say, because, you know, if we're getting schooled by the likes of Hull in transfer activity, then that says a lot about us. And this goes back to what I was saying during the game review, is that our transfer activity and our transfer policy seems to be, we try to overcomplicate it. We try to be too clever rather than moving at pace and getting these deals done. Ollie Watkins last year, or in the closed window, now there's like £15 million more that if we were going to get anywhere near him, and these sorts of things. Yeah, we just are so pedestrian on the wing and a prayer and a hope that we're going to screw as much money out of the deal as we can. Sometimes you've just got to get the player. If our due diligence is good enough that a player is a good player, get him. Pay the money and get him.
Jill?
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, it's speed is the key, I think, a lot of the time. But yeah, just to go back to that small point where we have to try and be impartial a little bit, but where everyone has been, including myself, until I find facts out that are facts, that the Americans are, strangling us financially, that they're not. And this was actually done, the money set aside and the players, the lists of players targeted back in November. That's 4 months ago. So, I'm sure that I really don't know. I mean, we do seem to have this habit of being hijacked by West Ham. I'm not too sure. I just get frustrated with it.
Yeah, I know. We'll cover that in a minute. Tim Richards in the chat. Tim has just said, sorry, but you're all missing the point. The academy and the trip to Israel is nothing more than treating our youth as a cash cow and a way to make money of the owners, not to boost the first team. Right. Okay. Now he's raised that point, I'm going to put a little bit of meat on the bone. I'm concerned where the money is going, okay? The Wan-Bissaka money, we know that hasn't been reinvested. We've spent nothing in the last 3 transfer windows, or next to nothing, just on the odd loan. And before I carry on, by the way, to me, the biggest schoolboy error of this transfer window is you have 2 loan spots. One of our loans that we signed, Cenk Tosun, is injured, and we closed the transfer window without even filling the second loan spot. Schoolboy error. You wouldn't expect a part-time club, let alone a Premier League team, to be carrying on their business this way without replacing your left back, your right back, and your striker that you know you needed, but you've left a loan spot open. You've left a loan spot. Ian, did you find that information out on the loan window and the international?
No, I know you're going to say that. I did look, and it looks as though I'm not into. Maybe one of the studious guys out there can tell me. I know for the summer window, there's an extended loan period within which, once the permanent transfers go, you've got another week or so to get loans in Europe-wide. But I think the winter transfer window, everyone wanted clarity, and therefore everyone, I think, other than Russia, closed on the 31st. And I've got a feeling that included loans as well. But I'm happy to be put right on that. Otherwise, you would have seen them come in the last couple of days. People would have been still working on them, wouldn't they?
Jel?
I had a chat with my cousin a little while ago, a couple of days ago, and he said the only thing that worries me, he said, was that we've been in the Premier League for 7 years, and we have this aging squad that, according to this website that I was snicking, transfer market. That our squad's worth around about 207 million quid, of which Wilf is worth probably about a quarter of that. I can't see how we're going to be getting, how they value Guaita, who can just about walk at the end of games, at 9 million, and Max Meyer at PVA at 10.5 million. I really don't know. But anyway, but my main point is that with these aging players, should they move on, they will move on as a big lump. And if we've not done the ground improvements,
I'm coming on to that in a minute.
The women have got better toilets. I really don't know. I mean, if he said if we went back down, if we were to go back down, we would go back down with a squad full of, well, probably journeymen again from the Championship and kids, be worse off, and we would go back to the original, with the original ground. And to all intents and purposes, anyone that played us would never know that we would have been a Premier League club. Okay, we're not going down with a brand new ground or massive stands, and go on, Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are already an hour into this show, and as you can see, we are now approaching the nuts and bolts of what we wanted to talk to you about. Thank you for joining us on Red and Blue Review. We are going to stay on the air. We are going to chew the cud and hopefully bring one or two of you on to say hello to us and give us your thoughts on it. We've got, I was about to go on to talk about where's the money going with the academy and everything else. Parrish is telling us that he wants to, we're investing. We bought, goals or whatever it's called. We're investing heavily in the academy. Well, nothing's coming. We've got the Perrick guy coming through. He's already an existing academy player. We've had apart from the Wan-Bissaka thing, we've had nothing. The Wan-Bissaka money, the money we got for Wan-Bissaka was a rarity. Something that we should have a production line coming out of that academy to bring forward to the first team. The whole point of an academy is to be self-funding. Well, it is self-funding at the moment because they're still living and drinking out of their Wan-Bissaka money. There should be a production line of players ready to step up. And I'm sorry, some mismanagement behind the scene, it's not happening. There is nothing there. The good ones that we did have, and Jel, and I'm going to give them the people the opportunity, Sam Woods, Dion Curtis-Henry, Giovanni McGregor, James Daly, Jason Lakilo, they've all gone out on loan. Okay, maybe they do need some first team football. Perhaps they do, but they should be ready now. All this time that they've been there, they should be ready to start dipping into and bringing up into the first team. Ian, go.
Daly actually went on a permanent.
My mistake. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. But even the ones we only got 2 players in. One of them was on loan and he's injured, and the other one we've got from Dundee. And as someone quite rightly pointed out in the comments just a minute ago, we then loan him straight back out to a lower club, Alloa, than he came from.
Yeah,
it's bonkers. I'm pleased to see that Woods played for Hamilton today and had a steady game against Celtic, scored on his debut. That's good. I'm all for our kids going out and getting league competitive football. That's never a bad thing. Lakilo going to Doncaster, that will only do him good. And I think he'll fit in quite nicely with their type of football as well. Listen, if we can start moving some of these players on that aren't clearly going to make it because the under-18s and the under-15s have got quite a bit of talent in them, then all well and good. The problem we've got is that everyone's now...
Hold on. You just said all well and good. Well, that makes it a failure of the academy system.
If you let me finish, right, at the minute, I think on under 23 level, I don't think we've got anyone good enough. Right? At under 18 level, I certainly think we've got a couple of people. Brandon Perrick, okay, and who's the other one? Oviedo. He looks a good little player. But other than that, we've got people just holding places for the sake of putting a team out. And this is the problem, because you've got no one pushing. This is why Roy wants to bring in. But we're always looking to bring in, as Gel's quite rightly said, 29 and over people. What we should be bringing in is what we have done on Scott Banks, but then bloody playing him, giving him a chance, put him on the bench, let him know, rather than just farming him out to a lower standard than we bought him from. That is just crazy. So what you've got is you've got a massive gap there, and that is where our transfer activity needs to be, to start filling in 24, 26-year-olds, just to bridge that gap to allow the talent to come through the academy. I'm all for the academy. I'm all for the Wan-Bissaka money to be spent on getting it right. Okay, but it's going to take a couple of years to start seeing talent that's going to be good enough to come through. So, I mean, we have a completely unrealistic set of fans at times, expecting it to be just like that. But you can't do it without the investment. And that is one thing I will back the club up on. They are putting the investment in.
Okay, investment. Jel
wants to say something.
Go for it, Jel.
Ben Studd said we lost a lot of status for the academy when the rankings came in, and we were at category 2. Recent upgrades are good, but a long way to go. If we can get cap to cap 1 by the time we're relegated, it'll at least be a step forwards.
Well, and he raises a good point. In fairness, he raises a good point. That's all. That's all Parish is interested in, is getting it to Cat 1, because potentially it will add to our sell-on value. And on that subject, Jill, I'm coming directly to you. I've got a question. Yeah, I've got a question that you're not aware of that's coming from Andrew Adams. And thank you, Andrew, for your question. He said, so we're talking Cat 1 and Cat 2. And I think that's the real reason why he wants to invest in Cat 1, because it's going to help towards the sell-on value of the club. Andrew writes, don't you think that all along the Americans were just needing planning permission for the stand and the academy to add to the sale value? There was no intention of growing the club. What tipped the balance was the new way the new money was distributed, and they want out. Okay, they are businessmen and nothing else, and don't care about the club, only in making profit. Your thoughts, please.
Wow, that would be a serious error of judgment on Steve Parish's behalf, then, wouldn't it? Because he turned around and said that he would only ever sell the club to people that he thought would take it forward. He said that to my face in an interview. So, and has said many times, I think, that he would only, sell the club. So again, another error of judgment. I mean, that can't be right. It can't be that they've just bought it just to sell it on.
Well, okay. Well, do it the other way, Jill. Do it the other way then, Jill. Okay. Are we gaining from Cat 2 status in the academy? No, we're not. Have we built the stand? Have we got planning permission? No. I'll keep going. Okay. What are they doing in the background? What's the Americans? I know you're saying earlier on that it wasn't all the Americans' fault and they had agreed on a budget, but in the time that they've been with us, have we gone forward? And remember Parish's old statement, unless you improve the squad in each transfer window, it's as good as standing still. Well, in our case, we actually ended up the transfer window with less players in our squad than when we started the transfer window. Typical Crystal Palace. Over to you, boys.
I'll take that, Jel, while you're
go
trying
on.
to formulate an answer. Right, a Category 1 status. For a start, forget the cynical stance about the Americans and it being something better for them to sell. Category 1 is about the academy and about the quality of teams our academy will be coming up against. Category 1 gets you in with the likes of Tottenham, Chelsea, and everything else, and then we'll see who's good and who's not good. Secondly, and also it attracts better players. There's somewhere we really lack at academy level, is that we lose a lot of players from South London to the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham.
We do.
Simply because
and Fulham.
Right, so let's get that straight for a start. Secondly, how long do people realistically think it takes in today's age to get planning permission through with all the crap with residents associations, planning applications? I mean, it's only been 12 months, 18 months, maybe. Right, so that's how long have Everton tried to be getting a bloody stadium they wanted, even with the backing of their council, and it's still only in plans. So wise up, people. Smell the coffee if you like.
Brentford,
Tottenham.
Hang on, Brentford.
Say that again.
Brentford, Tottenham, Arsenal.
What about Brentford?
They've all got bloody brand new stadiums. It can't be that difficult for them.
How long were they in the planning?
Oh,
this is what I'm saying, Nick. Listen to what I'm saying, right? It's all, the planning process is not a quick thing, okay? You have to get the planning permission. We haven't even got planning permission, and people are up in arms.
So where is the planning?
Okay? So
where
money does not get you that. Put in a decent and well-structured planning application gets you that. Go, Jel. Someone.
I'm angry.
Yeah. So again, I got absolute pelters for this, but I turned around and said that I didn't think that we would have a stadium, that stand, not a stadium. I didn't think that stand would be built by 2025, 2026, and got absolute slaughtered for that on Twitter. But again, a mate of mine who is, really well placed, and he said to me, and I told you guys this 3 years ago, that he said to me that old stand would still be there in 20 years. That's what he said.
And I made it quite clear. And thank you for your comments, Neil Chatterjee. I appreciate what you just said in the chat, mate. I've said to you all, I'd be surprised in my lifetime, and I don't intend checking out just yet, that we're ready for.
If you go any redder, mate.
Exactly.
I'll be surprised. Oxygen. I'll be surprised in my lifetime if that ever happens. Right, Nigel Croucher writes, and he's got quite a few questions, so pin your ears back. With all the cries for out the Americans, Parish and Freedman, is there anything realistic that the fans can do to voice their displeasure with the way things are at the moment? Ian, you go first.
Well, the ultimate sacrifice for a fan is just don't turn up to the game, because no amount of social media campaigning is going to change someone's mind. Someone of that ilk, someone who's certainly if we're talking about the Americans, people that are so divorced from it. Look at what the Charlton fans have had to do to get rid of Duchelet and how long it's taken them to do it. And they were incredibly creative. They went to Brussels and demonstrated outside his offices and all this sort of stuff. And it took forever. And that's Charlton.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If demonstrating in Brussels, it's like me getting on a train to go to Charing Cross. All you got to do is just go into London and get on a Eurostar. You're there in 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's
they'd have been home for tea.
Have they changed it this week?
But the point I'm making though is it was futile, right? But they actually went to lengths that a lot of our fans wouldn't anyway. So to answer your question, what can we do? I think the only thing you can do is stop buying merchandise, stop buying season tickets, don't turn up to games. That is when a club financially hurts, because until that happens, right? Okay, we regardless of what anyone says, revenue turnover. Forget the TV money, but revenue turnover is something that Steve Parish and the rest of the club are after, because that's where other clubs are gaining a march on us. So they are after our pounds, shillings, and pence. So that's where you deal with it.
Andrew Adams in the chat is actually taking issue with something you just said, Ian. Ian, you're going down the Newcastle route. Would be better not buying the refreshments, merchandise, etc. After Woodward issue? I wouldn't want people to go that far, is what Andrew's saying. It's a tough.
Hold on a minute. I haven't suggested with the Woodward protesting at Parish's house or anything like that. I've just said withdraw your money. That's all I've said.
But how does that benefit the team?
But it doesn't. That's the whole point. What can we do to make the Americans listen without harming the club, without harming the team? Because it's the club that they own. It's the club that they want.
So I'm confused on what you're actually contradicting your own argument. Okay. So if you were to withdraw buying stuff at the club, therefore that's coffers going into the club, and therefore that's affecting the budget that we will have to spend money on players, incoming players. Okay. Yeah. Well, how does that benefit the club?
It doesn't, but I never said it would. What the question was is, what can we do? What realistically can we do to get the Americans out? So if all they're after is a club, as some people have portrayed, that they just think it's a cash cow. If we suck that cash out of it, it's not a cash cow to them, is it? It's just a millstone around their neck. That's what I'm saying.
But wouldn't a direct some sort of? I'm not a great fan of protests. Oh, by the way, I do want to talk about the central.
No, because I've already said that. I said it won't work.
But because
there's so many balls from it, it won't work.
It certainly hasn't worked in the West Ham case, that's for sure. But they're still investing money in their squads. They're still investing money in their squads.
They're largely in debt. They're heavily in debt.
Who? West Ham? Oh, of course they are. Okay, but they are, and they are also living rent free in the stadium that we pay for. Okay, and paying a pittance of a rent. I get that. Okay, but they're still buying players that we would have actually invested in.
Yeah,
okay? But they're invested in the squad.
But Roy don't want them. So why are we looking at those types of players in the first place?
Jel, carry on, mate.
Kevin Lyon said, if you take the cash out, it's just a cow.
Kev, do you want to jump on, mate? So, going back to Nigel's questions, his number 2 question. What does Friedman do? Very simple.
Joe, you can answer.
If we are looking to make cuts, okay, should his position be top of the list of things to be reviewed, Mr. Holyoke?
Jesus.
You know that bus I drive?
No. You know what? I see, if you're going to do that, you might as well throw the old club underneath it, right? If you're going to do that, then you're going to turn around and say, so Benteke's a centre forward and he's supposed to score goals. He doesn't. So, if you've been Friedman because he can't get many players in, then you've got to bin Benteke because he doesn't score goals. And you've got to bin Sacco because he's just, he's keeping up his appearances. 1/3 of his career he's been injured. 1/3 of this season he's been injured. If you just buying, we're throwing really good money at rubbish.
Players.
And then when we invest in the kids, we don't keep them. We just loan them straight out. And then when we think we might have a good kid, we just get rid of them. So it's a source of frustration. I still think, this is the other thing as well, I still think, even though after 7 years, Parish is still learning. I honestly do, because there looks to be so many schoolboy errors and so much, you know, and we're all football managers, we're all football chairmen, we're all the best fans. You know what I mean? We're the football fan is as fickle as he wants to be. But sometimes you do look at the club, it's easier to see it from the outside in and go, Christ almighty, you know. And then every now and then you get a little bit of info from someone on the inside and they go, do you know what? They haven't got a clue. And then you think, you know, that's someone from the inside saying they haven't got a clue. It's just that Palace for me, you know, for all the 30 odd years have been, you know, I love my club, but they're just a source of frustration. Always have been, and probably always will be.
Ian,
just Jel, when you're talking about Sacco, just let me just say this: with Sacco and Benteke's wages combined for 2 years, that's your 20 million for the academy.
But then we're 2 players down, aren't we?
Are we? They're not there in the first place.
Well, and then you can justify it like that, yeah. You know, I mean, in all honesty, I would rather have Wickham than Benteke, and we've got neither in reality. So you know,
does anyone know how much of his wages that Sheffield Wednesday are picking up? Has anyone heard?
No, I didn't see that.
50%?
I did look for that as well. Somebody else in chat, Brad Winks. Good evening, Brad. Thank you for joining us. Oh, and to every single one of you out there, you're allowing us into your living rooms, into your homes on the Sunday evening for longer than we would do normally, and we're very grateful. Thank you. Brad writes, I think I'm right in saying that Liverpool can now win the Premier League title against us at Anfield. Would be typical Palace to spoil the party.
Not this time. Not this time. They're light years.
I know that it's been moved backwards for TV because that's allegedly, well, that's when everyone think they're going to pick up the trophy. But I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it'd be typical us, even though we could be on a losing streak for 20 games and then suddenly do something now. But I think this time they'll be wary of it. I agree with Joe. I don't think so. Anyway, look, listen, Roy wouldn't attack. He'd put 10 men in defence, wouldn't he? So
yeah, of course he would. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have been joined by a Red and Blue review regular. And Ben, move your camera down a little bit, mate, because we can see lots of that massive forehead of yours. And it looks like the big McDonald's sign, okay? Welcome to the show, mate. I know that I sent you some of these notes earlier on. I know you're fuming about some of the notes. What did you want to say?
Mainly about transfer stuff, to be honest with you. Going back
Go for it.
Bowen. The Bowen deal. Yep. Yeah, that is true. That they approached us. They offered us a loan.
Camera down.
We knew someone. Pardon?
Bring your camera down. That's it.
They offered us initially a loan for 4 million, and then with a view to a permanent, and then leaked it. What isn't, you know, people are getting very angry that West Ham came in and we should have matched their offer.
No.
Someone we very, very much trust and rely on says the total value of the Bowen deal was 39 million. 39 million, and that's with him having a release clause if they're relegated and refusing to take a pay cut if they're relegated. Instead of being released, relegated, he's getting a pay cut, he gets released.
Can you verify that? Can you actually substantiate that a little bit, Ben? Because I knew that figure. Obviously, I knew that figure.
You're taking into account what they've paid, what they paid for him. You're taking into account his salary, the length of contract, and the refusal that if he goes down, that he'll take a pay cut. Palace regularly insert relegation clauses. He refused it.
So we could still pick him up in the summer then?
Yeah, we could still pick him up in the summer, but...
for 4 million?
I've seen lots of things that people saying his choice was West Ham or his choice was Palace. He wanted to go to Newcastle.
Newcastle, yeah. It was definitely Newcastle.
second bit was Ferguson. I don't know. I've missed bits and pieces of the show. I don't know if you talked about how Ferguson and why the deal collapsed and where it goes in the future.
Only touched on it.
We haven't touched it. We know, ladies and gentlemen, those of you in my questions team know that we know the information behind the injury or why the deal collapsed. Ben, perhaps you'd like to allude to it and tell everybody else?
Without giving names and secrets away, Friday night, we had a private message, didn't we? And we were talking, saying that this is going to collapse and why it's going to collapse. And we shared it in our chat and didn't really put anything out there. But yesterday it came out in The Athletic. Don Fifield wrote about it. The reason Ferguson deal collapsed is he played through pain on Tuesday night for West Brom. We'd already had a deal, very close to being agreed, which is why we didn't push the button on Kyle Walker-Peters. So we were playing 2 deals off. What they do in the transfer window, they set 4 or 5 deals up, and then the one that they want, when they think they've got it, they go for it. So we were talking to Kyle Walker-Peters, but we were getting closer and closer on Ferguson because it ticked all the boxes that we wanted. We wanted to lower the age of the squad. We wanted young potential. We wanted English, everything that Hodgson wanted. So we had a deal. He played at West Brom. He played through pain on Tuesday. Came down to us on Thursday for the medical, to which our doctors, Zaf and them lot, found a tear in his knee ligament.
I thought it was hang on a minute. I thought it was a hole in his
a hole.
What's he called? What's
the meniscus?
A hole in what? Meniscus is the word.
It's meniscus.
Yeah,
which
it's a massive injury.
It's what we were told, right. And so to go back, the Americans, for all the faults, say what do they do for the club? What they have got is a massive network in America because they have ice hockey and all that. So they have some of the best surgeons available. The Americans got involved in the deal and they asked their surgeon in America to have a look at the scans.
Yeah.
West Brom knew Ferguson was injured. And according to their doctors, it was a 6 weeks, if managed injury, he'd be back and playing. The Americans, when they looked at it, said, this is going to require surgery now, and he's going to be out for 6 months.
6 months. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you missed that, 6 months surgery. And if he was a player over 30 years old, Ben?
Career ending.
Career ending. Teresa Baker, you're in the chat at the moment. Explain to everybody how serious the meniscus injury is. Ben just told everybody else it's a career-ending injury for anybody over 30 years old and 6 months out. Is that right, Teresa?
It's worse than the anterior cruciate ligament. They can get in and do that. It's, if managed properly, they were, 4 to 5, but really, realistically, 6 months. At which point, Palace didn't walk away from it. Hence, we were all sitting there at 5 to 11 on Friday night because they wanted to renegotiate the deal. They wanted to reevaluate it, renegotiate it. What is also happening in the background now is that Ferguson went back to West Brom, and this is documented in tears because he feels he's been shafted by West Brom. Yep. And it's apparently, there's going to be legal stuff going on left, right, and centre. But this is also a kid who's out of contract in 6 months. So he's got a potentially career-ending injury that West Brom knew about, didn't tell us about. We found it. Now he is without a contract in 6 months, potentially.
So in theory, we could pick him up on a free.
We could pick him up for 4 million. I think it's 4 million. No, 400,000. Potentially July the 1st.
I think it's 4 million.
Yeah, it's training costs. They only have to pay training costs. But obviously, there are lots of clubs. He was touted throughout Europe. Some of the biggest clubs in Europe were interested in him.
Yeah, definitely.
Very big clubs, Milan's, Juventus's. So to get as close as we did to him would have been a massive coup. Coup. So,
but I mean, it's one of the few players that Hodgson has actually come out and said, "Yeah, I really rate this kid," because he obviously had experience of him, didn't he?
Yeah. If you talk to people, the same, he's got the potential to go very, 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 very high up in the game. What happens on July the 1st if he comes through his surgery? Do we go back in for him? Have we told him we will?
Teresa Baker, who's a sister at a local hospital, says once it's torn, you get stress on tissues around it, makes it more prone to tearing again, unless given the correct recovery time. Thank you, T. Appreciate it, love. And ladies and gentlemen, you're not getting this information from any other Crystal Palace outlet. You're getting this from the first time, from the horse's mouth, at Red and Blue Review. So that's why you join us each and every Sunday night. Ben, brilliant information, mate. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Carrasco.
Go on.
Carrasco is.
Go for it.
Roy sat there in that press conference and said, no interest in him. Don't believe that's true. It's one that the club were actively pursuing, very confident on, but ultimately Hodgson, with a couple of other players through the transfer window, he said that he wasn't going to play him. He'd rather give Pierrick the minutes rather than Carrasco. So it's one we potentially could have done, but what's baffling is that Hodgson doesn't rate him, but Atletico Madrid have snapped him straight back up again.
Yeah, because he's a decent player. Ladies and gentlemen out there in Red and Blue Review land, is there anybody that wants to come and join us? You've heard an awful lot of information given to you by Jel, given to you by Ian, and now by Ben Allen. Is anybody else that would like to come and give us your thoughts on the transfer window? What did you think of yesterday's game, but potentially the transfer window? How things have been running the club in the background right now? Your thoughts, because we are. And Nigel Croucher says, "Are we not getting a quiz tonight?" No, you're watching the wrong show for that, Nige. If you want a quiz, you need to go and join another lot. Wonderful quiz that also, nevertheless. Sorry, Ben. Anything else, mate?
Just to highlight what Ian was saying about the academy, I think Category 1 status isn't just about, selling, adding value to the club for sale. It is, as he said, about playing the very best kids in the country. If you want to be the best, you've got to play against the best. And it's not just about our kids playing Arsenal kids. It's our chance to look at Chelsea's and Arsenal's and United's kids, because if they don't give them contracts, we've played them, we can get them. So I think you've got to play at the very highest level throughout the leagues. And I think they've actually started work now, haven't they, at goals? I think that's actually, they've got surveyors and they've almost started breaking ground on it. So I think that's actually going to happen, that one.
Just give a 2-minute brief overview of how you believe things are being dealt with in the background at the moment. And I'm going from transfer window to potential developments to the academy. How do you feel the world is at the moment at Crystal Palace Football Club?
I think, as it's probably been said elsewhere, I think there's a massive disconnect between manager, director of football, ownership and chairman. I think Friedman and Parish obviously want to lower the age of the squad, which, Jel was very right about. It's the oldest squad in the league. So they want to do that. Hodgson goes with what he knows and what he trusts. I think that the Americans do want to go, but he's right. There was money available this summer, this January, but I think the disconnect between Doug and Hodgson is palpable, and I think there's only going to be one winner. And I think if I was a betting man, we'd be looking for a new manager in July.
I don't even think that's open to negotiation. I don't think it's up to discussion. I think the reality is the fact that he hasn't already signed an extension to his current contract means he's gone anyway. You could just tell in his demeanour. Ben, I've got somebody else waiting to jump on as well. I want to thank you for spending the time in your time on a Sunday evening, coming on to say hello. Really appreciate everything you do in the background and on the page. Ladies and gentlemen, everything you see on Red and Blue News on the Facebook group is driven through Ben. So thank him for all his work. There's lots of comments in the chat, Ben, so go back and have a look at them. And I appreciate you coming on. Night, mate. Thank you.
Ta-da.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
And I believe we have somebody else lined up. Are we ready to go, Lucy? I'm sure somebody else is about to pop on just to say hello. Jel.
No, as soon as someone leaves, someone pops in.
There is an
so I put the kettle on.
Yeah, and as long as you're not playing me a pussy again. Ladies and gentlemen out in Facebook land, come and say hello. Jill, how much milk have you gone through tonight? We're talking about a cash cow. Have you killed the cow? Fucking hell.
He's suffering from it.
He's suffering from it, is he? Right, okay, what else we got? I've got other bits and pieces. I've got a long, I was about to say a long one from Andrew Adams here, but he's talking about are Crystal Palace 2010 to blame as they sold out to the Americans and took their money? 5, how much of the ownership decisions can Steve Parish push through without being overruled by the other 2? Joe, this is something I know you're quite, you're ready to go.
I was always under the impression that the 2 Americans couldn't amalgamate their shares.
Yeah.
That to overpower Parish and basically force him out if they wanted to. I'm sure that Steve Parish is far too clever to let that happen. What concerns me more and more is no one seems to know exactly what the percentage that Long, Browett and Hosking still own. If we're to believe that the Americans have 18%, well, the Americans and Parish have 18% each. I mean, it's 54% there.
What about Delaware? Where does Delaware
see? Now this is the big thing. This just seems to be so secretive, and again we were given sort of information from a trusted source to say that that this fronted company in the low tax state of Delaware had sold micro percentages to upwards of hundreds of investors receiving micro percentages of our club. I'm not too sure why that was even allowed to happen, if that made financial sense, if that could lead to instability, and actually what percentage that these micro percents, what they actually fully add up to. So I don't know. Do you know anything about it, eh?
No, but what I was going to say is it just suddenly sprung on me. That's what we can do to deal with the Americans. Just buy up the shares as a collective. Become Delaware.
What, Red and Blue News Delaware? That's what we're going to become. We're going to become international.
Yeah, exactly.
We've also got a couple of things going on in the chat. Okay, Summer Kearson and now Mark Easton. Have you tried to get Parish on? His silence is deafening.
Yes.
Summer Kearson says, Steve Parish, come on down.
Let me, Summer. See, this is the thing, right? What we did, or what Nick's been doing on and off for the last 18 months, is every now and then sending Steve Parish an email, inviting him onto the show, and he now just ignores those emails. I think he's sold himself out to just everyone but Dan at Hopkin looking to curl one. I think he gets all of Parish's, doesn't he? I mean, he doesn't go on whole radio anymore, and I'm pretty sure that he only talks to Dan now.
I'm telling you now, Jel.
But listen, most chairmen never talk to anybody, so I suppose. I mean, he's took a big risk there, giving up his job and going for full on Patreon, getting people to sponsor him. So, good luck to him. But
Steve Parish knew tonight, and I haven't told any of you this, okay, that we were doing. John, try and keep your camera still, mate. Steve Parish knew that we were doing a elongated show tonight because, again, I messaged him today, not an email. Can you believe it? Philpott used Instagram today, and I did, to message Steve Parish. So he knows that he is welcome on this show to answer our questions. And the reason he won't come on is because, as you witnessed tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he will get the view that we've got knowledge that maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we shouldn't have. And certainly maybe we shouldn't be sharing with you. Right. Before I want to talk about, guys, I want to talk about...
Hang on, before we just go to John. Sorry, Nick. Before we go to John, just the reason I know everyone's been talking about it behind in the background, and the reason I asked for permission off of this person that sent me these messages today was because the fan base, it just needs to chill just a little bit. You know, it just needs to just calm down just a little bit because it's getting toxic between everybody. You know, it's toxic between the owner.
Do you not think that's fostered? Do you not think that's fostered by the silence that's going on? And and
no one else talks to their fans.
You are right, because people who think they're in the know say stuff. We think we're in the know. We say stuff. You know, and there's only one person actually in the know that can actually address this and cull it. But that person is keeping out of things.
Right. I'm going to welcome to the show, John. I've only got a couple of minutes because I'm now tight on time. Welcome back to Red and Blue Review. How are you keeping, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you all doing, lads?
You're all right. And how's the show been for you tonight?
Good night, mate.
Yeah, really good. I really enjoyed it. You lot all do a brilliant job.
That's very kind of you to say, mate. Thank you very much. Big Mike Howell's out there. I can see you out there. Aaron's out there. I can see you too. People are joining us all the time. So thank you, each and every one of you. John, you are a regular contributor to the page. You're a regular contributor to Red and Blue Review. And for that, we are very grateful. Tell me, what was your overall, just a quick review of yesterday's game? What did you think?
I agree with what you were saying before. It was, the first half was okay. The second half, if I'm being honest, I thought it was going to be a 0-0 draw. I couldn't see neither of us teams as tall scoring. I do have to think Roy takes far too long with his substitutions. Why we got rid of Connor Wickham to Sheffield Wednesday and James Daly on a loan, and we've got no strikers now on the bench. Are we going to go back to the old-fashioned way where we're going to play Townsend and Zaha up front when we get desperate, or our strikers get injured?
And John, I can't argue with any of that, and we can't. Lee Lockwood, by the way, I've just seen your message in the chat. I'm coming to that subject next. Boys, Ian and Jel, just have a look at what Lee's just been writing about because I want to cover that subject next, if you don't mind. As far as the Townsend and Zaha thing up front, okay, I've got another question for you, John. In your view, do you think Zaha will stay with us at the end of the season, or do you think he'll be gone?
I think he'll go in the summer.
Where do you think he'll go to, John?
Who will buy him, John?
I hope he goes to Chelsea and we do a sneaky move and get Batshuayi on a swap deal.
Interesting. Don't you think that the Batshuayi thing was not even mentioned during the transfer window? Is there anything to be read into that scenario?
I'm not too sure about that. I was funny that he didn't mention it at all during the whole window, that he weren't mentioned to him at any of his press conferences. I still think we missed a trick on trying not to get Giroud as well, because he's sitting on the bench at Chelsea. He wants to play football for the Euros. Why do you not have a punt on him?
Excellent. Why not? And why not? What a great shout. What an absolutely excellent point. I mean, and do you know, that's something that hasn't been picked up by any of our team. Why not Giroud? Giroud is a bloody good striker. I don't think he'd turn into another Benteke sort of thing. I think some of it is, supposing nobody comes in for him, John. Supposing Chelsea don't offer because nobody's going to offer us the 80 million that we require. Okay, if nobody does this summer, the trouble is we're going to end up with keeping Zaha for the rest of his career, because if he doesn't go this summer, he's never going to go. Would you not agree?
Yeah, true. Or do you think he might go abroad? Do you think one of the people abroad might fancy a punt on him?
Boys?
Wilf, I don't think he's going to go abroad. I think from what we've been hearing for the last 6 months is he wants to stay in and around London anyway.
Yeah.
So, which is why I would agree with John in that, we've been saying it for quite a while. Chelsea and Giroud would be someone I'd absolutely love. But I'm also inclined to agree with you, Nick, is that he's only worth 80 million to us, which is something we covered on here a few weeks back, because he's worth that to us. But every game he's playing lately, that value is dropping by the week, isn't it? And I'm not so sure. It won't be a straight swap with Batshuayi at some point.
And and that could be where it ends up. John, listen, mate, because of the time constraints, I'm going to have to move on. Thank you for joining us as always, buddy. Okay, keep up to putting up your shirts that you do for us every week, and keep up spreading the word for us around all the other pages. Tell them all about Red and Blue Review, and you are You are one of our staunchest supporters, and I'm eternally grateful, mate. You look after yourself, buddy. Talk to you soon, yeah?
Cheers, chaps. Nice seeing you all again.
Take care, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Right, okay. So we're probably going to wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so, ladies and gentlemen. But, boys, I want to talk about a subject that we know has been muted on here quite a lot. It's the subject of the central singing section. Now, whilst I think they still, yesterday you've got to hand it to them, they were trying again yesterday. It was they were going for all afternoon. But to me, and ladies and gentlemen, I would like your views out there in Red and Blue Review Land, the experiments failed. I always argued, and I'll tell you for why, the concrete upper tier or the ceiling of the upper tier is concrete, okay, obviously. And the sound is not echoing around the stadium, allowing the other stands to join in. Admittedly, the people in C and E and F could join in more. I grant you that, okay, in their defence, in the HF's defence, okay. But the experiment where it's involving the other areas of the stadium is not working, in my opinion. Boys, starting you in, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. They're always going. I think it's up to the rest of people to then catch on and go with it. I mean, they're certainly loud enough where I am, but I mean, I know the pair of you have got different opinions, but yeah, I just don't. I think half the issue, as alluding to what I said before, is that the team's not giving any of us anything to chant about. And if they didn't keep on and bang, it'd be like a library in there for the last 2 months, because they've got to give us something to get up for and applaud and support them. We've done it for 80% of the season so far with little or no payback, and now I think people are just getting tired of it.
Jel, you got any thoughts?
Yeah. So
give it.
I always thought that this was going to be them trying to get themselves front and centre for the TV. Whether people like that or not, I don't know. This is my personal opinion. I thought that the best position for them was in the cheese, what I call the cheese, underneath the skybox. Had they tried to put a roof over that corner, join the Arthur and the Homesdale, I think that they would have that you would hear the sound from them. I think given a completely dedicated section instead of being given a dedicated section in between fans that have lost a lot of friends, that have lost a lot of continuity. People like continuity when it comes to football. I think there's acrimony from many fans towards the HF. I'm not allowed to take a stall up there and sell pies at half time, but they're allowed to sell scarves and shirts and stuff. The Arthur, I believe, didn't get a band at half time beforehand, but the Homesdale got a band up there, and it just seems a lot of circumstances that are a lot of stuff being done for them. Also, I heard a little birdie told me that because the sound wasn't travelling, that they were going to put some kind of steel canopy or whatever underneath, over the concrete to make it, to make it louder, to make it more echoey, to make it spread. I don't know. I mean, it's just like you say. When things are good, everyone sings. When things are bad, just they sing.
Is it as simple as that, though? Is it as simple as that?
No, of course it is. But listen, this is the other thing as well. Of course. I mean, you've got. Like I said, I mean, there's the arguments that went on pre-season have caused a massive split in the fan base.
And has it?
Everyone else shits himself. But none of the other podcasts want to cover this because of the hate and the crap that we'll get on Twitter and the hate on here and everything else. But I like to think that we have bollocks big enough to try and tackle subjects like this within our club. But the club have bent over backwards for the HF, and I mean, you know, it's and what they do. I'm not gonna knock them sideways completely, because what they do, you can't knock them. They sing regardless. They got their shirts off when it's pissing with rain and it's freezing cold. They're always chanting. I mean, some of the chant inaudible for me, but then I'm 53 years old and going deaf. So, but some of the people just go like, "What?" I was in Block B with you, Nick, and I looked over. And some people were looking. They want to sing, right? But they're looking over, going, "What they're saying? How boring is that?" You know, the HF they've said, and again, someone can dig it all up. They want to change the identity of the club. They don't want the old history. They don't want the old songs. They want the new songs. Well, you know, there's people my age that like the old songs. There's people older than me that like the old songs, and there's people younger than me that like the old songs. But you know, it's just the HF split the fan base. Like I say, what they do well. But are we the club? Is our family fan base the German Polish ultra? Where, you know, I just don't know. I don't think it is. But listen, like I said, and I said it ages ago, when they first started mooting this thing about going to E and upsetting the apple cart completely, it's given the cheese. The amount of ag this has cost the club. It would have been easy to put
ladies and gentlemen, Gel's talking about the blue covered area in front of the skybox, is what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, just stick a temporary stand over a roof over the top of it, and you literally will. The sound will travel down the Arthur, and it will travel down. You know, it's if you can build an acoustic shed for the HF, I just can't understand. For me, like I said before, I like to look at things simply, and all our club likes to do is look at things very complicated and cause ag, and that's exactly what it's caused.
Okay, views in the chat. Paul Glance says, I moved because of them. I won't say what he said next. Been in the Lower Homesdale for years, in the gallery, and hate it. Okay, Lee Lockwood said, here's the take on the HF. I'm not just talking about the HF. I'm talking about the central singing section as a whole, the experiment as a whole. Okay, and this is me. That was me talking. And Lee says, I sit in Block E, just in front of them, and people are pissed off with them. They are viewed as self-indulgent and are viewed by background noise by many. It doesn't help that they've painted the concourse black and can sell their own merchandise and play their own music. One day, and mark my words on this, one of them is going to get. No, I won't incite violence. Okay, but that's what he's talking about. I'm trying to get some of these other. Andrew Adams says the club marketed them on the brochures and threw their weight behind them, but the rest of the ground sung. I can't see any of the other. Ian, can you see any of the other comments?
Yeah, but if the rest of the ground sung and got behind the team, then it'd be a different matter.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, I mean, going back to that point, I mean, that's what I was saying. You know, let's not just rely on the singing. It used to be the whole ground singing, didn't it? You know, so if the Arthur want to start singing, they don't have to sing the same songs as the singing section. They can do whatever they like. But for me, it boils down to, I can't be bothered singing at the minute. I would sing a throw-in back in the day, but I can't be bothered now because I'm not seeing anything that's actually making me want to sing. You know, and I think this is I think we're conflating two different issues here. We have to understand the process, the osmosis, you know, and the symbiotic nature of the fans and what they see on the pitch and the way that the players on the pitch you'd expect to react based on the atmosphere that the fans are creating. You know, and somewhere down the line, there's a complete disconnect. And let's not just focus on one particular area, because for a singing section, that is what they are doing. They are just doing nothing but singing. It's everyone else that can't be asked.
And I think that's a very valid point to end that on. Okay, thank you, Ian. Right, what's coming up, what we're looking forward to over the next few weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Well, up until the 2nd of March, we are away to Everton on the 8th, on the 22nd, after the international break. We're home to Newcastle. Then we have a little trip down to Brighton away. Look forward to seeing you all down there. And on March the 2nd, we are at home to Watford. So that's 4 games, boys. We've got 2 at home, 2 away. Everton, Newcastle, Brighton and Watford. Jel, a points tally from that lot, please, from you.
I'm writing this down, Jel, because we didn't do it last time.
Go again. Just say the games again. Quickly.
Everton away, Newcastle home, Brighton away, Watford at home. And also, while he's thinking, ladies and gentlemen, out in Facebook land, let's have some predictions from you. Points. So you got possible 12 points there. Graham Kitchen's already come back with 7. So what's your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, please, out in chat land? Joe.
4.
4 points. Oh dear, that's 4 draws from Jel. Max Francis said,
"No, it's not. No, it's not. It's 1 draw and 1 win.
Okay, 1 draw, 1 win. That means it's 2 losses then. Right, Andrew Adams is going 6 points. Kevin Lyons is saying 3. Summers saying 3. Ian Lyons, you're next.
I'm saying 6.
Oh yeah.
Because I think we can get a win in 3 draws.
Jordan O'Day says 7 points. And do you know what, Jordan? I'm going to agree with Jordan. Write it down in. Nick and Jordan are both saying 7 points. Curtis is saying 3. Andrew Salt is saying 2 points. Really, Andrew? Graham Wick saying 3. Paul Owen saying 4 points. Tim Richards saying 2. Bloody hell, and John Knox is forever optimist.
John's been on the Bailey since he's been on.
He has. John, you've got 10 points, mate. Easy, geezer. Easy. So there you go. He's got 10 points, bless his heart. I also, before I sign off, ladies and gentlemen, I must continue to say thank you to John Lyons, Graham Kitcher, Kevin Lyons, Tom Clark Samuel, and to everybody in my questions crew. And I'm very grateful for everything you've contributed towards the show. Boys, last thoughts from you. Anything from you, Jel?
Yes. So
go for it, mate.
I just want to go to the HF.
Log in.
If the team play well, everyone sings. Makes the HF look fantastic. If the team are crap, like they are at the moment, then it just it makes them not look very good. So, but let's just not make it all about them.
Quite right. Ian, final thoughts from you, please.
Nigel Croucher, I saw what you put on there about where's the quiz. You're not wrong. February quiz is coming up. Watch us next week and we'll have one to pose.
Okay, and don't forget, you can also find us on Twitter, YouTube, Big Heads Media at any time to either watch, listen, or download. Don't forget, we are the only podcast you can watch. But most importantly, please go to redandbluereview.co.uk. And finally, from me, please go to our YouTube. We want to get over 100 subscribers. Please do it this evening. My name is Nick Philpott on behalf of Joel Holyoke, Ian Lyons and Lucy Usher in the background. I wish you a safe and happy week, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your chins up. It's not all too negative. Good night, Tigger, or whatever your bloody name is. On behalf of us all, I love you all. You take care. Thank you for your input, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
See you later, guys.